Channel 3 News from Wallace to Cataldo, the Silver Valley's best coverage for local news, sports, weather, and ski conditions. When the Valley wants local coverage it can count on, it turns to us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evening at 5:30, 7:30, and 9:30. And now, Kimberly Jacobson and Matt Wilson with Channel 3 News.
Hello everyone, it's Friday, April 29th. I'm Kimberly Jacobson. We're glad you could join us for Channel 3 News. Just ahead, we'll tag along with some grade school students on a preseason Sierra Silver Mine tour. We'll meet Republican candidate for Congress Ron McMurray. And if you plan on running Bloomsday this weekend, you're not alone. We'll talk to some local runners geared up to hit Spokane this Sunday. Those stories and more, please stay with us.
Silver Valley News is sponsored in part by Farmers Insurance Group, McCauley Insurance Agency, America Trusts in Farmers, McCauley Insurance Agency, Bill and Melody McCauley in Kellogg, 783-5301, McCauley Insurance Agency.
Although the Sierra Silver Mine tours don't officially open for business until May 6th, this week Silver Valley students got a special sneak preview tour. Channel 3's Roger G. has that story.
As school days go, Wednesday's field trip for 20 Avery kids would be hard to beat. Their journey began with a trolley ride up 9 Mile Canyon to their destination, the Sierra Silver Mine. After finding the right yellow hard hat, one size fits all, Larry Maupin, today's mine tour guide, leads the youngsters to their first stop and a talk about mine safety.
Green turns to a brown as the air goes through it. And you got a color indication on the back of these, tells you exactly what percentage of that gas is in the air. Computer systems, and we monitor the exhaust side of the mine 24 hours a day, so we know what's coming out of the mine at all times.
Next stop, the kids get their feel for their day's class of Underground Mining 101. The fun, or education, continues with the study of explosives.
The way you can set that gas off is with a cord we call dead cord. It's an explosive cord. You set the dead cord off with a fuse primer or electric primer. What we'll do is we'll use a stick of powder, slide the stick or the primer into that, slide those into the back of the hole. And so here's a round here.
Deeper into the mine they go, some more history, and then some hands-on experience with drill bits.
One person would hold it up.
Supposed to turn it. Turn it,
And every time he hits it, you have to turn it.
Yeah, Harriet, turn it. It's gonna take you a long time, sir.
I did it twice, man.
Does anybody want to operate this piece of equipment? Yeah, we'll start with him.
With the Avery students still immersed in their studies, the Sierra Silver Mine Tour trolley goes after yet another group of school kids for their lesson in local mining history, and not a half-bad way to spend a school day. Roger G., Channel 3 News.
Again, those tours open to the public Friday, May 6th, and they run through October. A few weeks ago, I spoke with Democratic Congressman Larry LaRocco while he visited the Silver Valley on a campaign stop. Yesterday, one of his opponents, Republican Ron McMurray, was in town for a breakfast. Afterward, I had a chance to ask him about his views on some key issues.
Yes.
Tell me about some of the latest moral allegations against your Republican opponent, David Leroy.
There's been a real concern that's been raised, and that concern is that the David Leroy is under federal investigation for an alleged ethics problem. People are starting to now paint Ron McMurray and paint the Republican Party with the same brush that was created with David Leroy. So I find myself out there talking to the people and saying, oh, you politicians, all the Republican Party. And so What my concern is that David could end this by all he has to do is just say, here's the people that said there's a part-time job that said I could make $120,000 a year part-time, which is 6 times more than a full salary, average salary in the state of Idaho. But this is why I could do that and still have a law practice. And if that was a special sweetheart deal that he had, then he needs to say who it is that gave him that special sweetheart deal. And then it could end it.
Obviously, you're a Republican in a traditionally Democratic county. What was your response here in the Silver Valley?
Here's where the people aren't even talking parties. The people are talking what's the best for them and their families. And here's what their concerns and what they related it to me, is that number one is the job and the economy. I mean, we may have a job, but what do? We educate our children, and we have to export them somewhere else to have a job. We want our children to stay here so we can see our grandchildren. Same way, I have 2 grandchildren, I want them to be where I can be with them too. So that's number one. Number 2, taxes. Now, whether you say it's property tax or income taxes, taxes are a big concern. When I grew up, a family of 4, man and wife and 2 children, you paid 4% federal tax. Today, a man and wife and 2 children pay 25%. The government continues to put their hand in our pocket. Now they're inside of our home, inside of our door, forcing us to do 2 incomes. We can't have a 1-income family anymore and still be at the level of living we want. That was a concern they relayed to me. And the third thing was family values. That we have a deterioration of a family and the family values, and of course that's a lot of things, with juvenile crime and what it is, and it relates to a number of things. I'm finding that it doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat. People are saying, who is it that believes in the philosophy I believe in? And that's what I'm going to support.
What are your feelings on gun control?
Well, you know, it isn't the gun that kills the person. It's the one that pulls the trigger. And I'm a real advocate, a very strong advocate to withhold the Second Amendment of the Constitution, and that you have the right to bear arms and keep arms. I have a real fear right now with what's happening with us in the United States, is that those of us that believe in that and want to and stand up for that they're trying to divide us. And here's how they're trying to divide us. They're saying, we'll let you have your deer rifles and your shotguns and some of your pistols, but this assault, they're using the word assault because it sounds bad. I repeat, rifle. This assault weapon, you certainly don't think we need an assault weapon, do you? So let's get rid of the assault weapons, and we'll let you still have those others. And some of the people who believe in the Second Amendment are saying, well, you know, maybe that word assault, okay, let's get rid of the assault weapons. Another chip, another chip. We can't let that happen. We just can't let that happen. I'd have voted against the Brady bill. The Brady bill isn't going to solve crime. It isn't going to make a difference. We need to be able to let our people own the arms and have arms, and I'll go to the grave believing that.
What are your feelings on abortion?
Abortion, I think, is one of the most difficult things that each and every one of us has to answer to. And I think that whatever it is that I believe, I hope they respect that, and whatever you believe, I would respect that. I reach down inside my soul, and I answer to my God. And in my case, I don't believe in unrestricted abortions.
How do you feel about some of the anti-gay initiatives that are being introduced in the state of Idaho?
Well, I look back at what happened in the Meridian School District, where they, without approval, unannounced, brought a lesbian couple in to explain to the children in school as to why this could be a favorable way of life. I don't support that. I don't think that we should take your tax dollar and my tax dollar and teach the homosexual life in a favorable light in our schools. You know, what you do in your bedroom, what I do in my bedroom, that's your own personal thing. But in the schools, that's everybody's business. And so I don't think we should do that. And so I don't want to spend any money on that. And as far as the homosexuals in the military, you know, I'm against that too. I don't vote for that.
How do you feel about the Endangered Species Act?
I think the Endangered Species Act has to be changed. Here we have an act that is all so powerful. It overrides all other acts. And the most dominant species on this earth isn't even included in it, and that's the human species. Mm-hmm. So here we have a species that has a wife, children, and a mortgage, and it's not even included in the environmental issues. We have things that have snails, and bugs, and owls, and stuff that have more representation of environmental issues than human species. That has to be changed, and I will work very hard to see if that's changed.
Anything else you want to add?
No, the only thing I would say is that the premise of my life and what I've done as running small businesses and running Idaho Seaport, and as also kind of how I've based my campaign on, is that something that Thomas Jefferson said a long time ago, and he said, a government that's big enough to give you everything you need is big enough to take everything you have. And I think we're awful close to that. And I think you need some good business common sense in Washington, D.C., and I'm the only candidate that can bring that.
Did you know 35% of people who are applying for work lie or embellish facts on their resume? Or perhaps you didn't realize that if you ask someone that you are interviewing their age or family status, but don't end up hiring them, they could sue your company for discrimination. Shoshone Medical Center Personnel Director Carol Young addressed these subjects when she spoke at yesterday's Kellogg Chamber of Commerce meeting about how to interview and hire the right people. Some key points of her presentation were to evaluate resumes thoroughly and to inquire about everything on them. You should also ask the same questions of every applicant. Some sample questions are, how did you gain your industry experience? What have you been criticized for in the last 2 years? What steps have you taken to enable you to become more effective? There are also ways of wording questions in an interview that can be acceptable or unacceptable. For example, you may ask if someone has the ability to speak another language, but you cannot ask what language is commonly used in their home. Some good standards to watch for in a potential employee are positive outlook, leadership abilities, experience, and accomplishments. Some red flags are no real genuine interest in the field, poor communication skills, changing jobs frequently, lack of enthusiasm, poor personal appearance, or not possessing proper skills. Young stressed at least spending an hour or two on the final interview. After all, this is an important decision that could lead to a long-term relationship. This weekend, many Silver Valley residents will be heading west to Spokane to take part in the world's largest timed road race. Kara Keller caught up with some locals who have been training hard for the big event. Here's what they had to say.
Okay, so are you guys ready for this year's Bloomsday?
Absolutely, yes.
Great, and have you done it before?
I did last year.
This is my first time to do it.
Uh-oh, good. Okay, are you guys planning to run or to walk it?
Last year my time was 1 hour and 34 minutes. So that was sort of a half run, half walk, and we're hoping to do the same thing this year.
Oh.
Right around 134.
I'm planning on just being fortunate enough to finish it. So I'll probably walk a lot.
Great. And have you been training for this?
We've been going to Hard Works, working on the treadmill, and doing a little bit of training, trying to get in shape.
Great. And do you plan to load up on your carbs Saturday night? What are you doing for Saturday night?
Yeah, we just
eat pasta.
Yeah, lots of pasta, and we decided we need all the help we get. We started eating carbs 2 days ago.
Great.
We're going to carb up if it helps. Great.
And for the big race Sunday, how do you plan to get there all the way from the Silver Valley?
We're going to drive in early, and we've heard that the streets are closed before 7, so we're just going to drive in, pick up our race packets, and probably be there before 7 so that we don't have to, have any trouble parking.
We have a couple other people coming in the car with us.
Oh, good.
And we've got one race tip for everybody going. The one thing that happens is that when you start out in this big crush of humanity, you forget where the curb is, and you don't really know where you are, sidewalk or street. So when you first start out, be real careful you don't trip and sprain an ankle before you even get started.
And we wish Joan and John and any other Silver Valley residents that are running the best of luck. And Channel 3 News will bring you highlights of the race on Monday's newscast. Well, you may have seen jars around town asking for donations to help Silver Valley resident Kim Wilbur Thompson. Kim was born fighting a diabetes-related illness, which has had her in the hospital for many major operations. Carrie Dickinson is the spokesperson for Kim's fundraising group. We asked her how the fundraising was coming and how Kim's condition was progressing.
Okay. We're in the works of a bowling tournament scheduled for May 21st. There will be 3 tournaments. Children will be starting at approximately 2 o'clock, followed by the teen group starting at 4 o'clock, and then the adult group starting at 6. The Kellogg Bowling Alley is gracious enough to let us have this tournament in their facility. The cost is $5 per person, and all the money will be going to Kim. The Pythian Sisters have offered to have snacks and food provided there. And we want everybody to come out and show their support for Kim. Kim is still suffering from her diabetic neuropathy. She's been fighting this for several months now. Her doctor bills are still ranging in the $40,000 area. Unfortunately, Kim is back in the hospital at Deaconess. Her condition is the same. She's going through the pain and the nauseousness again. I spoke with her last night, and she said she's feeling about the same. There hasn't been a whole lot of improvement, but she's going to stay there, and hopefully in the next day or so that things will start to be turning around for her.
If you're interested in the bowling tournament or drawing, contact Karen at West Valley Realty. The number is 682-2142. And starting Monday, May 2nd, there's a new option for traveling in and out of Kellogg, also a new way to send freight. According to manager Carol Lee, the Gondolier Chevron just signed a contract with Greyhound, and services will start on Monday. Residents may purchase tickets at the Gondolier and send or receive packages there. The Gondolier is located at 802 West Cameron, and the operation hours are 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For more information or bus departure and arrival schedules, call 783-9696. It's been 3 weeks since we aired the new Transfer Center's ribbon cutting ceremony, so we thought we'd give you an update on its progress. According to County Commissioner Jack King, everything is running smoothly. He said one change they have made is the hours. Originally, they were open from 10 to 6. It will now open earlier at 9 o'clock and close earlier at 5 o'clock p.m. If you've driven by lately, you might notice landscaping has already begun, and King says they're also laying the pavement. The new Waste Transfer Center is shipping about 8 truckloads of garbage to the landfill in Missoula, Montana a week, according to King. And just ahead, Mount Wilson had some Wallace High baseball scores and some boxing information, as well as his weekend weather forecast. Please stay with us.
Excelsior Cycle, the Silver Valley's full-service bicycle shop, featuring Trek, America's #1 bicycle brand, and Giant, the world's largest bicycle manufacturer. Excelsior Cycle, located in Uptown Kellogg, proud to sponsor Channel 3 News.
Hi, my name is Ron Beitelsbacher. Look at that sign. You can't hardly get it through the door.
Beatles, Backler.
Fiddle Spasher. Vinyl Splasher. Oh.
Bachelor.
Vinyl Spaker. Beetle Spocker.
Bell Dispatcher?
Did I say it wrong?
That's perfect. No, you didn't.
Beitelsbacher. You don't have to say it. You don't have to spell it. All you have to remember is it stands for something. It stands for you.
And welcome back to Channel 3 News. I'm Matt Wilson for your weekend weather report. Well, we've had some gorgeous days here in the last 2 days in the Silver Valley after some early rain here earlier this week in the Silver Valley. What's it going to look like for the weekend? We'll check that in just a moment. First, let's take a look at what has happened and take a look at what has happened. Our sunrise came this morning at 5:33. Our sunset will come tonight at 7:56, getting closer and closer to that magical 8 o'clock hour. Our state high yesterday was in Payette, 69 degrees in Payette. Elk City and Red River checked in with 21 degrees for the state low yesterday. Mullan was 56 and 27, and Kellogg was 61 and 31. Our normals for this time of year are 63 and 37, so we're getting closer and closer back to our normal temperatures. Taking a look at our record temperatures, Kellogg saw a record high 88 in 1926, 21 in 1907. Wallace, up there in Woodland Park, that's where these temperatures are kept. 86 degrees is the warmest temperature ever recorded up there on this date in 1987, and 24 in 1973. And in Mullan, 79 degrees in 1987 and 25 in 1990. Here in Kellogg, currently we have 58 degrees under mostly clear skies. Tonight we expect a low of 36 and some clear skies tonight, so that's why we're going to see some cool conditions tonight. Hopefully we won't see all the frost and coldness we saw this morning here in the valley, as we will again tomorrow morning. Hopefully we won't see that. Tomorrow we'll expect a high of 65. It'll be clear until late in the afternoon. That's when we'll see a few clouds roll in, and we'll expect a low of 36 tomorrow. Take a look at our extended forecast, looking at the rest of your weekend. Sundays, looking at 64 and 37. As I said, those clouds are still going to be here. It's going to be partly cloudy, not a whole lot of clouds, so there won't be any moisture in those clouds Doesn't look like right now. Monday's looking at 64 and 39, partly cloudy on Monday, and Tuesday's looking at 65 and 41. And now let's take a look at those closing silver and gold prices here on Channel 3 News.
We gotta get some help to get her up. Go call Hank.
Okay.
Okay, girl, you'll be all right. We'll get some help in here.
In the country, when help is needed, help is there.
Somebody's coming!
Saw your truck out front.
Thanks, man. I gotta get her up.
Such is the attitude of many in the country. Like the rancher who provides students with hands-on experience and scholarship funds. It's people like Tim McGarry who remind us that opportunities are earned, not given. First Security Bank, currently giving 110%.
And welcome back to Channel 3 News for your local sports roundup. And tomorrow night there's going to be lots of action at the Wallace Elks. Boxing fans will want to be there tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And the in-the-face boxing will be on the card tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Some amateur boxers will be on the card. Some Silver Valley fight team will be presenting this card. It will be their last home card of the season. And there'll be 10 to 15 bouts tomorrow, depending on how many people are able to line up. And there'll be fighters not only from the Silver Valley, but also from Spokane, Seattle, Othello, and Butte. Though the fights are 3 rounds apiece, and they are limited to 2 minutes per round, and they'll feature 3 Silver Valley boxers. And take a look at those Silver Valley boxers. One of them will be Jamie Hill. He is a welterweight. He'll be on the card. He recently took 2nd place at the Rocky Mountain Regional matches, losing a close one to a Utah boxer. Hill got into the regionals by knocking out a Caldwell boxer and winning the Open Senior Welterweight division for Idaho. He is 55 and 14, and he's got a couple knockouts on that record. He will box at 147 pounds tomorrow night. He'll probably step in the ring around 9 o'clock tomorrow night if you want to get ready for that. One of the other Silver Valley boxers will be Jeff Snyder. Snyder is 15 years old and will box at 100 pounds. He will box as an open junior, and he is 8 and 15. The young boxer hopes to see a rematch against a Spokane boxer, Josh Mullan. Mullan is 26 and 1. Mullan's only loss came to Snyder. According to Silver Valley Fight Team coach John Hill, Snyder is used to fighting very tough boxers anyway, and he'd like to see that rematch tomorrow night. The third Silver Valley boxer is Josh Arrows. Arrows is 170 pounds and hopes to be down to 165 pounds by tomorrow night to fight in the middleweight category. He is a novice boxer. That means he has less than 10 fights. But according to Coach Hill, he has an awful lot of heart. He should be fighting early on in the night, tomorrow night. Again, the bouts will start at 7 o'clock tomorrow night at the Wallace Elks. And the cost is $5 for adults and $3 for seniors and students. Also tomorrow, the IML League competition for golf will start tomorrow, and the Kellogg Wildcats will be participating in that. They'll be up in Bonners Ferry tomorrow. We will see if Travis Fulton can do it again. Last weekend at the St. Mary's Invitational, he hit his first hole-in-one in his life, and we'll see if he can do that again. Last year, Travis Fulton won the IML League in the boys category. The Wallace Miners will also compete tomorrow in the IML League competition. The Miners, this is the last event that the Miners compete in the IML. And speaking of the Wallace Miners, well, the baseball team will be back in action tomorrow. They're coming off of a road game against the Lakeside Knights, their A3 foe. This time they'll be at home at Morehouse Field, and they'll be playing Coeur d'Alene. That action will get underway at noon tomorrow in Osborne. And also, the track team will be back in competition tomorrow. They'll be up in Priest River this time. The Wallace Minor track team will be up there in Priest River. That action will get underway around noon tomorrow in Priest River. And that's a look at your local sports. We'll be back on Monday with a roundup of all those scores and highlights, especially from those boxing matches tomorrow night in Wallace.
Right now, you can get any of these Ford Escorts with a super value lease. You get a driver's side airbag, AM, FM, air conditioning.
Power steering, power brakes.
The works. All for just $199 down and $199 a month for 24 months. Let's see, $199 a month boils down to about
$650 a day.
Which will get you into a movie. By yourself. Without popcorn. I think I'd go for an Escort. Drive one today at your local Northwest Ford dealer.
Welcome back, and we just got word from one of the striking truckers' wives, Lenora Helbig, that the Teamster Union strike is over. Local Union 690 in Spokane said to pull the picket lines at 3:30 today. Although we don't know all the terms of the agreement, what we do know is that management will not be hiring part-time dock workers, a victory for the truckers, and that it seems to be a favorable agreement for the truckers. And before we go, we'd like to let you know about some events happening in the community tonight and tomorrow and this weekend. Starting with tonight at 6:45 this evening, Fun Night at the PK Lions Community Building. Narcotics Anonymous meets at 7:30 p.m. in the Shoshone Medical Center Dining Room in Kellogg. The helpline number is 786-6830. At 7 o'clock, a parent-daughter volleyball game at the Wallace High School. Cost is $2. And on Saturday, the Wallace Rainbow Girls are having a car wash from 11 to 2 in the Osborne IGA parking lot. Donations are appreciated. Senior Citizen Dance at the Kellogg Senior Center from 8 to 11 p.m. Music by Jackie and Arlay. VFW Fun Night at 7:30 at the VFW Hall in Osborne. Alcoholics Anonymous meets at 7:30 p.m. in the back of the Cameron Mall in Kellogg. And on Sunday, Song Circle at the Steelworkers Hall, 4:30 p.m. The public is welcome. And Narcotics Anonymous meets at 7:30 p.m. in the dining room at the Shoshone Medical Center in Kellogg. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Channel 3 News. We'll be back on Monday. Have a good weekend, everyone. Good night.